I'm going to sink, I keep my head up. I always want to keep my vision on my opponent, whether it be in the peripheral. Chris Burnett, Green Dragon Tai Chi. Today I want to talk a little bit about head movement. So head movement is normally seen in styles like Western boxing, Thai boxing, kickboxing, things like that. We don't often talk about head movement in Tai Chi and Kung Fu. But anytime you have a non-compliant exchange, whether it be sparring or competition, and there's strikes involved, you definitely want to have some type of head movement. So if you watch Kung Fu movies or any type of action movies, you know, whether you find those techniques to be real or not, of course they're choreographed. But if you look at the people fighting, and a lot of times the masters, even in the old school Kung Fu movies, the Shaw brothers, you'll see that they use some type of head movement. So if there's a striking exchange and a person's head is still, you can rely on blocks and parries and things like that. But if your head is in the same place, your opponent's going to know where your head is going to be a target. So it's good to have some type of head movement. Of course, we can use footwork to manage the distance, getting off the line, things like that. That is, in a way, a form of head movement. But being able to do things like slips, whether it be dips and slips, U-slips, ducks, things like that, all of those things are essential, especially if there's a kick coming at the head and you can't get out of the way. So I would say the optimal thing we want to do with a kick is not be home, right? I'd rather for the person to hit space or air than to hit me in any way. So if there's a kick coming, if I can be out of range of that kick, or if it's coming at my head, if I can dip down and let it go over my head, I would prefer to do that than blocking it. If there's punches coming, we have what we call just a slip, where we're popping the shoulders forward, getting the head off the line of an attack. So if there's a straight punch coming right at my head, most times you can parry and kind of move the head off the line, right? We like to use those kind of like baby taps to just stay connected to the whatever fist is coming in, just staying connected, moving, looking off the line. But when we talk about the slips, if I slip, I'm kind of doing like a crunch with the oblique and popping my shoulder forward, my head's coming off the line. So the punch coming straight at me, a lot of times we'll put it with some footwork too, like maybe a shuffle step. Shoulders, using the obliques. See the sink in the quad? Off the line. So that punch is coming in, I shuffle, pop the shoulder, and it kind of torques the waist. It sets it up for, you'll see in boxing, a lot of times when people do that slip, it sets them up for that to turn into like a hook, right? Let's think about it in terms of Kung Fu though. So a lot of times you'll see, I like to do like this under over kind of fist, right? I learned that a long time ago. So I can do that from a slip as well. So maybe if there's a 1-2 combination coming, which is a very popular combination people use, that they're like a jab and then a cross or like a straight. So if I parry the first one and then in the second one I dip, I'm loaded to come under and then over. And then from there, of course, I've got all kind of, I can go into different Kung Fu forms or whatever. But just taking the mindset of using those slips and head movements and incorporating it into your Kung Fu. One of the styles I played around with when I was younger was like a 5 animals kind of style. And one of the techniques that they use is a snake style technique. And I really enjoyed the snake. Had like parries right here with the snake, right? So if you think about it, I can still use that head movement as I snake coming off the line, right? Just thinking about moving the whole body, but keeping the head as a moving target, not a stationary target, right? Because people definitely engage, they want to punch you in the face, in the head. That's their knockout, that's the easy win. So we want to keep that mobile. along with the slips. So I showed like a forward slip, stepping forward. We can do the same slip stepping back. Boom. So I can slip, step back, and come into different attacks, right? Slipping forward. So right now I'm in a conventional stance. My left leg is forward. A lot of martial arts styles, sometimes we have our right leg forward. It's almost like a southpaw, even if you're right-handed. So learn to do it both sides. Learn to slip and move on both sides. Boom, boom. Popping that shoulder, get the head off the line. Boom, you can attack different ways. So even on that slipping here, boom, I can come in, come back with any type of attack, palms, tiger claws, fists, knuckles, whatever you want to use, but just keeping the head mobile and engaged in the feet, all right? Another popular slip is the U slip. If you were to encounter somebody on the street that didn't have skill, most people fighting don't have skill. Most people with skill don't really fight or engage, especially in the street. But if someone was to come at you, 9 times out of 10, if they're trying to knock you out, they're throwing this wild haymaker or this big looping. This is where the U slip comes in. So a U slip, the head goes down in the shape of a U. So if I'm in any type of stance and let's say there's a wide looping punch coming from my left, I'm actually going to step to my left, but I'm going to duck under it using that U slip. So as that punch comes over, I'm going to sink. I keep my head up. I always want to keep my vision on my opponent, whether it be in the peripheral or I'm looking directly at them. But when I slip, I'm actually going to step out with this leg and then bring the other leg over. So I'm here. When I duck under, stepping, boom. And then get used to going to both sides. So if I go down under this side, 1 and 2, boom, boom. And it's almost like I want to have some urgency in that drop, almost like I'm pulling myself down with my legs, coming under, boom. So it could even be a kick, it could be a punch or a kick, but whatever's coming at your head, if it's coming from the side, 9 times out of 10, you can duck under, step. Now, I found that this also can set you up for those hooks in boxing. So if I come over this way, boom, I can throw a hook, right? But also good for kicks. A lot of times, crescent kicks can be useful tools. You don't see them a lot in the combat sports, but when you do see them, sometimes they actually knock people out. They're very rare, but you can use a crescent kick created by the motion of that U-slip. That's something we do in our martial fitness class. So if I'm here and I U-slip this way, when I come up, that leg can just crescent kick across. So if I dip and slip, and then of course the kick can load a follow-up punch. Other slips can be things like just ducking. Get used to being able to duck, move forward and back with your ducks, U slips, popping the shoulder, whatever it may be, and incorporate it into whatever style you do. Another slip is the rear slip, keeping the chin in. Say a punch is coming, I just step back, make that distance, right? I want to keep my chin in because that's the off button. If somebody hits me side of the jaw to chin, it can be lights out. But if I'm here, I can parry, keep the chin in, step, return. So get used to incorporating the feet movement with the head movement. So no matter what style you practice, I would say do some form of shadow boxing. Some people have compared the Tai Chi form to shadow boxing routine. But even so, in Tai Chi, we have the 13 postures. So talk about the 8 energies plus the 5 steppings. The 8 energies being the ward off, roll back, press, push, pluck, splitting, elbow, and bumping or shoulder. So when I incorporate those with the 5 steppings, whether it be the advancing, retreating, stepping left, or stepping right, which we compare to the 5 elements, when I combine things like maybe I press and ward off, or starting my push, coming back, or I can sidestep, ward off, sidestep, parry, maybe even going to, I went to a tiger. In my mind, I was thinking maybe brush knee. So when you incorporate the stepping with any of the Tai Chi postures, maybe I'm stepping, boom, turning, single whip, right? Raise hands, boom, maybe I shuffle, boom, forward, shoulder, boom, crane, right? Stepping with the brush knee. I can even step back, brush knee, boom. Switching feet, pushing, step, roll back, step to any side, roll back, press. So now I'm being a little bit lively and spontaneous with the postures of the Tai Chi form, which translates into expression of the energies with the feet movement. Okay, standing center is also one of the energies. It's that grounding, that Zhongding, and I should be able to stand my ground in certain instances, be able to move, push, uproot without being uprooted. But if things are a little bit lively, your opponent's moving around, maybe you have multiple partners or opponents, you have to use your feet. So now let's take a look at, maybe I use that head movement, go right into like a ward off or something, right? So I dip, boom, here's my press, right? So just kind of incorporating the realistic combat techniques into whatever form you're practicing, and then go out and test it in a live setting. So as I mentioned, like, so I was doing from a boxing guard, you can start from a Tai Chi guard, right? Still parry, still move the head. Let's parry here, boom, right? And then I can come across into any of the movements, stepping, boom. It's my kick, you slip, kick, boom, boom, duck. So I do encourage everybody to do some form of shadow boxing, whether you're just going through the movement slow, adding in some footwork, moving the head. So if I start with my form, right? So even from here to here, what if there's a punch coming in and I can dip, dip, ward off, dip, ward off. Sometimes we practice and overlook the combat aspect. So if you're training for martial arts, keep this in mind. See what ways you can work it in. See how you can make your form a little bit more lively. Of course, do it the way you learn it. Do it in sequence, smooth and relaxed. That's how you build the Tai Chi body, right? That's how you build your connectivity. That's how you get internal strength, patience. That's how you build longevity. Again, but if you're doing it for the martial side, play with it. Find somebody to play with, be active, use head movement, use the feet. Thanks for watching.